Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to the Soul Imagineer Tribal Council Podcast, Season 2. Oh, yo, 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 yeah, oh, way, oh, we, yeah, oh, way, oh, way, yeah, oh, way, oh, way, yeah. Yeah, I got the Survivor buff back on. Boran Tribe Red, Survivor Africa, representing 2003. Here we go. All right, how you doing, DSquared?
Doing great.
Okay, so we are here to talk about and generally break down the incredibly chaotic first episode of our Michael's Soul Imagineer competition, which is kind of a hybrid blend of Imagineering and Cutthroat Survivor strategy. And DSquared, you kind of relied on the latter half. You were the cutthroat strategist, and you have a hell of a story to tell, I think, because you got voted out first, but fortunately on this season, you're on Redemption Island, so you're not out of the game. So I just kind of want to keep that in mind going forward. You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to, in terms of strategy, because I know technically you're not out, and genuinely, as a player, I'm kind of rooting for you to come back just because it'd be exciting. I don't know, because you added so much to the game just in that first episode that even though it was nerve-wracking and I knew I had to get rid of you, it was still kind of like one of those things where I just found myself very giddy about just how hard you were playing and just how chaotic it all was. So ladies and gentlemen, DSquared made for a hell of a first episode, and I'm glad to have him on. So how are you doing tonight, DSquared? How are you feeling post vote off?
I've had a lot of time on my hands. Started playing my PS2 again. Guess I'm feeling good.
Right on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of break down the first episode, everything going on and everything like that. We have maybe one or two live viewer questions that we'll get to, maybe a little more depending on how many people we have. But if you want to send in a live viewer question, don't make a comment on this video. What you actually want to do is go to the WDWMagic thread, blah, 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 blah. You know where to go. The discussion thread. If you're watching this, you know where to go. I don't need to make a big deal out of it. Okay, so DSquared, my first question for you. You obviously came in guns blazing. You came in more than anyone else. Like, you had a strategy in mind, and you were going to implement that damn strategy. So my first question to you is, what preparation did you do before the game even started to kind of, like, get the wheels in your head turning?
Well, my theory was that if I got enough PMs started, our Michael wouldn't be able to check the voting booths and no one would be eliminated. No, that's a joke. I kind of just had this idea, I guess. I didn't really have a plan or anything. I had this idea like all the way back in during the choice when I started hearing about all this stuff about what Soul Imagineer was. And I didn't really have a plan besides the main strategy. I didn't have any preparation. I just sat in front of my computer for like 20 minutes and kept on asking myself, how do you do this?
Okay, so like did you go back, like you didn't study any Survivor, or did you kind of study any of the goings on in the first season, what happened with me and IDI and everything like that?
A little bit.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
All right, but I take it you're not into Survivor?
No, not that much.
Well, so for someone who's not into Survivor, you certainly knew a lot about alliance making. Whether or not you were successful at it, you knew kind of the basic functionality of it. So I give you props there. Okay, my second question actually relates to a question that Space Mountain had, which is a good question on the board. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to Space. If you were on the other tribe, would your strategy have been the same or different? Because let's break it down. When the game starts, we can answer this question, and then I kind of want to go back to some first impression of the general cast, my bad. But when the game starts, you basically kind of set out to make one strategy with one tribe, like, hey, let's tear the other tribe down. And then according to a lot of my sources, DSquared, a lot of my sources, you also did the same thing on the other side. So this is a question I was kind of like, my question to you was, which tribe do you actually want to succeed? And I guess Space's question is, would your strategy have been the same or different if you were on the other tribe? So kind of take that in chunks.
Well, when I saw the tribes, I started saying, let's try to get the other tribe, the one, was it Lasatoki? Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing if I could push that one up a bit, because like on our tribe we had like you and Jokers in England who kind of played last year and all know each other pretty well. So I was in the mindset of you guys could easily have an alliance and be able to get through the game easily.
Okay.
And the idea was basically to get some of the other members on the other team to eliminate the big shots on their team, so I could really focus on trying to convince a lot of the people on our team to get rid of the people who be making a lot of alliances. And
so I take it your true intention was you wanted to see the other tribe perform over our tribe.
Kind of, yeah. Because
fair enough.
Think about it, if you kind of have alliances with both tribes in a way, and the other tribe wins, you still have a backup plan where you can get a lot of big people eliminated on your team, and you have a better chance of making the merge, which is where you just throw out your whole strategy, pretty much.
Oh yeah, of course. It'll be a wild ride once we get there, especially if you're involved.
Yeah.
Okay, and then to do a Spaces question, if you were on the other tribe, would you have done things differently?
Probably not.
So
like this was a plan.
You targeted the big players on the opposite tribe.
What?
Okay, so if you were on the other tribe, would you have targeted players from the tribe that you were on?
Yeah, a little bit, because I mean, if I were to be on a tribe with IDI, he won last year, right?
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he won last year. You have to know that he's gonna be there, just knowing how to win, because whatever strategy he used worked last time. So
for sure.
So that would be definitely like a target to go for. It would all depend on. That was what was so hard about this. A lot of it depends on the how team chemistry works and stuff. Because if you have like a little problem on your team, you might want to try to get rid of that. But we had the solo challenges, so I don't really know how that would have went. It's kind of either or.
All right, so I have a general question for you regarding the cast. When you first saw the cast and like basically when you first saw which tribes were which, you kind of answered this already, but what was your first impression? Like, who did you want to play with? Who didn't you want to play with? I mean, you don't have to name alliances or anything like that, but kind of just who struck an interest to you?
I was surprised. Both teams were like had a lot of good people on it, but our team at first, and I think that's why our Michael had to change it up when England came in, because of our team had a couple of good people on it. I mean, I don't. The problem was that a couple of our people weren't as active, but once they did get active, it would have been. Our Michael had to change the teams, I think, because both teams were amazing, but our team, once we got England, was a bit of a different story, because he made it far last year. He made it to the merge, I think.
England, did he? Yeah, I think England made it to the merge and then was the first person voted off at the merge.
Yeah.
That was England's deal last season. Okay.
So we would have had a lot of veterans, like, for the first season. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a fair point. Then again, the other tribe, they have people like Red, they have people like IDI, Space, who's been a major presence in the boards.
Yeah, and then you have to account for new people who just happen to stand out.
New people are all these wild cards, and DSquared, you were a new person not too long ago, and now you're an established presence on the board, and people know know you're reliable when it comes to this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I must say, personally, that kind of made it a difficult thing to vote you out, because I knew kind of going forward with the tribes, we had 3 people that didn't submit. I'm not going to call them out on air because I know they probably had their individual reasons for not submitting and everything, so that's fine. But any one of those 3 people who didn't submit in the reward challenge probably would have been a more tempting offer to vote out than voting out you. It was really your hyper-aggressive gameplay that really just made it threatening to keep you in the game. So, I don't know. So, the line gets drawn straight away. You know what I mean? It's very, very murky.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, speaking of murkiness, I give props to Michael, and Michael knows I love this twist, even though it made it harder for me in the game. What was your thoughts when you first found out that the reward challenge would be individual, not team-based?
That basically throws out any strategy that you have, because you have to work around the way of, now we're not assessing how good people talk to each other, we're assessing how good people are, period. Which makes it a really different story.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It gives you a better idea of who you need to get out before the merge, I think, because if people pop in and help with brainstorming and then disappear, it appears as if they're helping out. But if people don't submit at all, I'm not going to name names or anything, but if people don't submit anything at all, you kind of know, you kind of get to
keep in mind. I know that there were good reasons for all 3 of the people that didn't submit from our team, so I'm not trying to chastise them in any way.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
You're not doing that, right?
So,
but
yeah.
You have that too, which it's kind of an advantage. You can see how active people are if you do that. You just look at how much content each person had. That kind of is an advantage to doing this. It's kind of a new way to look at who do we eliminate in a way.
Then again, when you get into situations where a tribe is very functional and each person is doing work, then it becomes very murky. Then it becomes another situation entirely, which we might be getting into very soon, because I feel like both of the tribes moving forward, once the tribe swap happened, are kind of like evenly strong. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So what were your general thoughts on designing the Tower of Terror attraction and whatnot?
It was kind of difficult because you can do it really good just keeping it, but just taking out all the references and changing it up a bit. But a lot of people did that. So trying to do something that kind of brings it out of that, tries to bring it out of that Twilight Zone feel without going too far and making a new hundreds of millions of dollars attraction. Mm-hmm. It's a little hard to find a good balance between taking it a little outside the box, but trying to keep it realistic, which I think I might have taken a little outside the box this time. I don't think they're knocking down signs off of buildings. Let's just rebuild the whole building. We don't even need to. We don't even need it anymore.
I've got to admit, with my project, I was genuinely surprised that I won, because I cracked that thing out in like 45 minutes, and I honestly didn't have any real ideas or outline for it. I was just like, okay, let's see, like The Shining, and then let's see, Harrison Hightower the third. No, Harrison Hightower the fourth. It's the grandson of Harrison Hightower. Okay, done. You know, I was just like rushing to finish that thing, so I was shocked when I actually won. So, were there any projects in particular from that roster that stood out to you?
I thought it was what Red did with Goosebumps was a pretty cool idea, because I don't think it wasn't a Universal movie, was it? Because I don't. Hold on.
Oh, I don't know. I would have to look that up, my friend. I think it was Warner Brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
They're not.
Or Fox.
Yeah. It's
No, I think it was Fox.
Yeah. Well,
I know Fox owned the TV series at least.
Yeah. Like, they're not too into the theme park world yet. They're starting to get there, but it's a smart idea to take an IP that's really not going to be used, but has like that rich history to it.
I still need to see the movie. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Yeah. I know Sandy Claus, one of our good friends, he wanted to do a podcast with me about the movie when I got a chance to see it. He had some strong opinions about it. So, Sandy, if you're watching it all, I know. I'm going to see it eventually. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, man. Okay.
74% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think that's not that bad.
No, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. So, getting right to the thick of things, DSquared, were you surprised at the vote? Was it a blindside, or were you expecting the votes to go the way they did?
It was a little bit of a toss-up. Like, I was trying to get the other team, like, no, don't boot me, but don't boot me out. But I don't really know how it could have went. I wasn't surprised when I was eliminated from hearing, like, you're going a little too fast. Slow down here. You're starting to become a target, which I heard from you and a lot of people. I think everyone I talked to told me that. Just calm down. But I
mean, in the reality TV competent, the strategy thing, Big Brother, Survivor, there's definitely an acronym, like you play hard, play too hard, too fast. And I think that's exactly the trap you landed in. Yeah. You were just like way too aggressive about it, but in a fun way, in a way that made things really, really interesting. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, man. It's fun talking to you, but it's really hard because you made deals with so many people that it's hard to kind of get into it and get into the nitty-gritty without giving away your plans, without giving away potentially other people's plans. It's like I know things that maybe people may or may not know that I know about what you know. It's complicated. It's complicated.
Yeah.
What do you think about how complicated it became already and your role in that?
I think it started to get complicated when I had a lot of people knew about this. I had two different alliances, but I didn't really bridge the gap between them. But I just like, oh, this person is doing this, so we can do this. And that's where I started to get a little...
What, you mean when you had the alliance with...
Yeah.
with basically everyone on my tribe besides me, and then everyone on my tribe besides someone else, and you were going after the other person?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the point where everyone was like, wait a minute, I see what he's doing here.
I started running out of things that I could do to get out of one.
I mean, and I you know what? I was entertained by it, and I was genuinely threatened by it at the same time because, I was going against you, and hell, I didn't know, I was contacting people, like, I'm not going to name names of votes or anything, but I didn't know if the people that I was contacting for votes were going to turn right around to go to you. It was hectic. I didn't know if you were in their ears. You know what I mean? I had no idea how many individual conversations you were having with people. You could have been doing anything. That was the vibe I got off of you.
I had a couple of situations where I was getting like news from people who got news from people who got news from who were talking to people. That started. I had a couple of people where I was like I was asking for like quotes from the threads from the PMs because I didn't believe the people.
Right.
Because I knew that people were saying he's kind of going too far with this, and I knew that since I was talking to so many people, it's kind of started to spread. So it was hard to know who was telling the truth and who was just trying to. I had a couple of people who were trying to like suck all the information out of me. I couldn't tell if they were trying to do that or if they wanted their lines back.
That's me. I was the one trying to suckle the information out of you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Took me like 18 hours and like 3 people to figure that
out. Genuinely, when you first came to me, I was down because there's certain connections that certain people have on our tribe that, maybe made us want to align with one another. But your gameplay just, like I said, it just was too much. It was too much.
Like I tried to approach a big a big amount of people, but that didn't work. So I had to try contacting them in groups, and then that didn't work. And then I had to just I had like 12 threads at the end of this. I think 12 PMs or something. I just kept on having to go back to people. Come on.
Well, Sam on the Soul Imagineer season 1, what he did, and this was also kind of a memorable early vote out, was he basically got together like, I don't know, like 10 out of the 16 people or something like that, some ridiculous number like that. And he didn't pitch the, he was basically like, hey, I like all of you people, and, like, message me individually for an alliance. And I'm like, okay, that's the most sketch person thing in the world.
That was actually my original plan, but then I rewrote it. And I added a bunch of...
You, like, took it further, and I think you took it further thinking that the aggressiveness was going to pay off.
Yeah.
I don't know. What was your point of no return? Like, what was tell me, like, the point where you're like, okay, like, this was too much. I just did one thing too much.
I think it was, I'm not going to name names, but I tried to ask someone, and I was really tired. And I was like, you're going to end up being part of my plan. I need to kick you out. And that started I got a little yelled at.
Wait. So you actually said to someone else that, okay, if you don't do this, I need to take you out?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, not a good man.
That was... I had a long day at school that day.
Oh, dear. So at that point, you were like, okay, I think I pretty much killed my social game right now.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm laughing right now just because it's like, I admire how aggressive you were. You know what I mean? I really do. You came in this thing guns blazing. You came into this thing wanting to dominate. And I really do genuinely think if things have gone differently, if maybe different people were on different tribes, that you could have gotten your hands on a bunch of different people, and you could have gotten something going. And that's genuinely what intimidated me.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me ask you this. Was there anything that you would change about how you played the game? Anything like, not moving forward, just kind of like if you were to Back to the Future this shit, if you were to just like go into the DeLorean to a few days ago, at the start of the game, the fresh tribes, first challenge, like how would you have handled yourself differently knowing what you know now?
I probably would have done the project before I started doing the strategy stuff, because I almost didn't finish it. But no, I think the first thing I did was PM an entire tribe, so I think I would have gone back to the very beginning, just went for individual people.
Okay, so you would have still tried to be strategic.
But not that much. That was a little too much. You can't let an entire tribe know what you're doing. That gets a little too much. And you have people trying to vote you out.
Okay, let me ask you this. Were there any, like, you're kind of new to you were in, let me see. What competitions did you participate in? Were you in Sorcerer's Apprentice?
Yeah, and I think I was in the Choice.
You were in the Choice. You made it pretty far into the Choice.
Yeah, and then Elite 8 I got out in the first round. And then now we're here.
Any dream projects in particular that you'd want to see?
I don't know. I always like to see Gravity Falls. I want to see Gravity Falls attraction after the new episode comes out, because I want to see what people do with what's in canon now. Because it's like canon changes. Canon changes every episode now, so it kind of gets hard.
I can absolutely guarantee you that Gravity Falls would be featured in So You Want to Be an Imagineer.
Yeah.
Calendars for that. Okay. So now let's talk about Redemption Island. You're on Redemption Island with Brer Panther, and Brer Panther was the one person on his tribe to not submit a project. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how good of a chance do you think you have to actually beat Brer Panther?
It depends on the challenge. Like, if I get something with Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster, I've never ridden those rides. I don't ride. I can't ride like that. So it all depends on the project, I guess. Like he can really do good if he has the right project. Same thing with me, but it's kind of a toss up. If we were to, is the Redemption Challenge going to be in the studios, or are we going to wait till next round where we go somewhere else?
Yeah, I actually am not sure about that. If our Michael could clarify, like, is it going to be this weekend? I guess it's going to be next weekend, right? That's what our Michael said.
Yeah, I think he said after the third person gets kicked out, the Imagineering.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're going to have a 3-person duel. Okay. Okay.
So I if it's in the studios, there's only so much you can make a challenge of out of the studios, because what's being done there is set in stone now. It's not like, oh, design the Pixar thing, because we know it's Toy Story now. There's nothing you can do about it. We know there's going to be a Slinky coaster.
Sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Going forward towards into the year more with new competitions, I think we're going to see less and less studios attractions, because studio challenges for attractions and stuff. It's been done so many times, and it's like when all the construction walls are up, we're not going to be able to do any theorizing anymore. We're gonna we're gonna know what's going to be there.
Yeah, that's another thing with like one of the primary spaces to brainstorm with Disneyland was the place that Star Wars Land is basically going to go into. So I kind of feel the same way about Star Wars Land. I'm like, well, now it's gone. I wanted that to be Gravity Falls Land. It was right next to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Big Thunder Mountain could have been like a Gravity Falls mystery. And now that synergy is ruined. Oh, God.
I think
what?
They were in the new promo, they have like shots of like the back of Grunkle Stan, but in like real life. It looks like if they do another show in live action, or they greenlight the movie in live action, I think they could get a ride to get close to it. Because they're doing what they did with Phineas and Ferb. They're like selling merchandise now instead of 2 years ago. So that's probably a possibility.
We could talk about Gravity Falls all day, my friend, and I think we will. At a point soon in the future, but
yeah.
If there is a Gravity Falls movie, I think I'd want to see a theatrical animated movie before I see a live action movie.
Yeah, I'm just going off what they showed in the trailer, the new one. Yeah. For some reason, they showed that.
Okay, so I want to kind of get into your post-vote off reaction where you posted the Down with Tiki thing.
Oh, God.
Just tell me about that. Just come on, bro. Lay it on me.
That was a gem.
Come on.
I wanted to see how many likes I could get on that one. I think I only got like 3. I was expecting like 9 or something. That was a social experiment.
I genuinely thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was supposed to be taken as funny.
What did you think about Joker kind of calling you out?
That was because of what happened. He was telling me to calm down because I kind of got a little riled up the night before I got eliminated. Not like I wasn't like arguing with anyone, but I was like, all right, who's the one that's voting me off? And he was, and me and someone else were trying to get answers, and he was just, you have to calm down. Because I was even saying, Tiki said he was talking to you, but he said it was just for the cast assessment podcast, so I don't know what that means. But
I just did the cast assessment with him. He was just, that was it. We didn't talk any strategy.
Yeah. I knew that, but other people didn't. And they were like, I know who it is.
Well, there's a whole mess of things we could get into, but okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. So with Redemption Island, you're basically hoping for something like Gravity Falls related. That'd be great on your end.
Yeah, just a ride that I've been on at least.
Right.
I keep on getting like Tower of Terror and like Animal Kingdom stuff. I never do those things. I've got a Magic Kingdom the whole time.
I was there. I admit I'd probably spend my whole time at Epcot.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So if you do actually, like, first of all, what do you think your odds are of actually getting back into Redemption Island? Or back to the game from Redemption Island?
I think if the game goes how the game usually goes and the people who don't submit or contribute a lot get eliminated, I think it might be a bit easier. Because if you have, like, people who will just disappear for 4 days at a time, and these are like 24-hour challenges, right?
Yeah, correct.
So that the 24-hour element can make it a bit easier because people have in real life stuff, but I don't.
Okay. Let me see. What kind of general twists would you like to see in the game?
I probably would have said switch up the teams, but that happened already. So
okay.
It was kind of cool what we did in the Sorcerer's Apprentice when me and Space drafted Jokers. Like we were allowed to get someone from the other team. They usually do that a lot?
Drafts in Survivor,
like you take one person from the other team.
They have done that. It's not necessarily like an every season thing. Tribe swap is more kind of like the more common occurrence.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. So in regards to like real life Imagineering, now that I've got you here, and this is kind of like an interview and whatnot, like, do you have any particular attractions that kind of like inspired you? Any particular moments? Because you know me, I'm the Tiki guy. Like, I visited the Tiki room when I was like 10 years old. It freaking blew my mind. I was like right at the age where it felt real still. And since then, you know, that kind of got me into Disney parks. So do you have a similar thing with a similar attraction?
Well, I rode Buzz Lightyear 17 times, but I think that's a little unrelated. I think it's just because I like using the gun. No, I like Harry Potter stuff, like stuff that makes you feel like you're there.
Okay, so I think Pirates.
Like Disney's starting to do that a lot. I mean, Star Wars is going to be like that. Pandora is going to be like that. I imagine if they could ever do Marvel, it would be like that. Like I always talk about having like a almost scale size Stark Tower. Like that would be cool. I like being like you feel like you're being transported to those places. New Fantasyland is really a good example.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like Disney hasn't used Marvel all that much in their parks. They basically had a Star Tours with Iron Man, but that's about it.
Isn't Tokyo or Shanghai? I don't know if it's Tokyo or Shanghai. One of them's getting like an Iron Man ride, like an actual ride this time.
Oh, really? An actual ride?
I've seen pictures of it. They made me.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about that. With ride vehicles that actually move and go through physical space, like that kind of a ride.
I think it might be I think it's Japan. It's not gonna be it's gonna be like Spider-Man, I think.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So Spider-Man, Transformers, that kind of style.
I think that's what they're going for.
All right.
It's gonna be
all right.
They wouldn't do a dark ride for Iron Man. That's a little tough to do.
I mean, I'm always the guy who's thinking of ways to do AAs and physical settings and everything, so I could think of stuff. I mean, Iron Man's a robot, you know, he's not a robot, but you know what I mean. You could do a physical version of Iron Man, but that's an entirely different story, entirely different. Okay, so just a couple more game-related questions. Just genuinely, are you disappointed that you're out this early? Because I do feel bad, because I know that you were so into the game. It was just a matter of protecting my own ass.
It was fun while oh my god, it was fun while it lasted. I kind of had it coming for me because I knew it was risky. Like every time before I made a PM, I'd just sit there for like 10 minutes and I'd be like, am I wording this right? Are these people gonna hate me now? I definitely took too many risks. I was kind of expecting it after a while. It wasn't. I mean, I'd rather be in the game, but if I were just like eliminated, I would be a bit more upset. But the Redemption Island thing's pretty cool. I have something to do.
Yeah, definitely. That is a nice thing going forward for all these people.
Yeah, like even if you're never around, you still have something to do if you want to do it.
Right, like it was not an easy decision to me, but at some point you just got to stick to your guns. That's the thing with Survivor, is that you kind of just got to snope out people that are actually playing the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm revealing too much when I say that. Okay. So if you get back into the game from Redemption Island, you don't have to reveal any strategy or anything like that, but what are your overall plans to redeem yourself moving forward?
First, I'm gonna have to kick you out, because that's gonna have to happen.
Okay, fair enough. It's on.
Just kidding.
Line in the sand, my friend.
That's something that's really hard to tell, because obviously with the merge, you take like two people who aren't gonna stab you in the back, and you say we're gonna go to the semifinals. And I'm gonna kill one of you.
Oh God.
I think that's the way that it happens on every, if they ever spoof Survivor, that's what happens every time. Like, I think Cartoon Network used to have a show that was just like that.
Total Drama Island. Hells yeah.
I've never seen Survivor, but I took all my strategy from that, and yeah.
That actually explains some of your strategy. That actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because your strategy was very cartoony in terms of like, hey, let's do this, and then let's do this, and then let's do this, and I'm going to start an alliance with one person. And oh, dear.
Yeah.
But you had fun, right? You had fun.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun crashing Michael's account.
Oh, dear.
With all the inbox things. Okay,
let me ask you this. Did Michael at any point say anything to you, like, either complimenting you or kind of being like, dude, slow down a little bit? I'm just genuinely curious.
I believe the only thing he said to me was, can you please put me in that PM?
Okay. Well, he says that to everyone at one point in time. Yeah. That's just part of being in the Soul Imagineer.
Yeah. I think he knew it was coming.
Okay.
I think he knew he wasn't doing that for too long.
Okay. Well, DSquared, you do know that 1984 is coming up, so if by the unfortunate event that you're eliminated from Redemption Island, I've definitely got a spot there for you.
That would be great.
So we'll see what happens. All right, let's see. I guess I'm kind of out of questions unless you have any further things you want to get into.
No, I don't want to get other people eliminated, so I think I'll stop.
Fair enough. All right, well, I really want to thank you for coming on, man, because I know that it's kind of like, it's kind of a tightrope doing this podcast, and trust me, I know I got voted out for doing this podcast, and I'm doing this podcast again at my own risk again. Yeah. It's kind of like a fun little tightrope of you have to talk about the strategy while meanwhile you're in the game playing the strategy yourself. So take that for what you will, folks.
Yeah.
Little breadcrumbs. Take the breadcrumbs. All right. Let's see. Do you by any chance have any parting Gravity Falls quotes you'd like to end on?
No, I think I've used them all already.
Fair enough.
Like real life, I think I've used them all.
All right. I can't think of any either, so it's all good. I'm kind of a dick like that sometimes. I'll just put people on the spot like, hey, think of something clever to end us out on. Come on, Joker, do it. Come on. Okay, so I will take us out. Also, folks, one quick thing. Tonight, I actually didn't have time to read through the Tower of Terror projects and take notes on them and everything. So we will be going live, I believe, with hopefully Sam in space tomorrow night, talking about all the Tower of Terror projects, breaking them down in a second. Bonus, all Imagineering, no strategy edition of the Soul Imagineer Tribal Council Podcast. Until then, DSquared. You have a chance at redemption, but your tribe has spoken. Oh way oh yo yo way yeah oh way oh way yeah oh way yo yo way yeah oh way oh yo way yeah oh way yo yo way yeah oh way oh.